Hi, my name is Laura Burgoyne, and I'm excited to be joining together with my sister Connie Blackwood in the NOSA Unleashed podcast. Here, we want to expose the stigma surrounding mental health issues by illuminating and discussing real-life challenges and obstacles, keeping us paralyzed and fearful to move forward. Let us inspire you to believe there's more to life than what you're currently experiencing. You can rise from your despair and find hope for the future. It's time to end the silence, remove the stigma of mental health, and to pursue the path to purpose and fulfillment. We will do this together because no one stands alone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for our next episode of our NOSA Unleashed podcast. I'm Laura Burgoyne, and I'm joined here with Connie Blackwood. And today we're going to be talking about continuing the conversation really about the chameleon effect. But today we're going to be focusing more on how do you shed that chameleon skin? How do you come out of wearing those masks and being pretend or not being yourself in those situations and become comfortable just being yourself? And so welcome, Connie, to this conversation as we discuss this. I'm so excited you're joining me again.
I'm great. I'm so glad to be here. It's exciting to talk about. One thing that automatically triggers when I think of this is that people who love you for you don't like it when you wear masks. They really don't. And the perfect example of this was when I was in Bible college. I was myself. And so my friends knew me as me. So when I came home and I started putting all those masks on, like I talked about last episode, I went back to visit my friend and he had made all these new friends. And so here I am doing what I have now become my norm. And I'm listening in and trying to figure out who they are and what kind of group this is and how to fit in. And then I joined the conversation after listening to them for 30 to 40 minutes. I finally joined the conversation and I'm like totally talking about their topics and like completely in their conversation. They loved me. It was awesome. As we're walking out, my friend looks at me and they're like, "What was that?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what was that?" And they're like, "That wasn't you. Why were you like, do you not like my friends? Why were you trying to be something you're not?" And I'm like, I don't know. And it totally blew me off, like threw me off guard because he liked me for me. He did not like the person I was portraying myself as. And he wanted to show them the real me. And I wasn't that person. And so people who actually love us don't want us to wear our masks. They really get thrown when we do that. It's not good.
Right. You know what that got me thinking about though too is sometimes people don't like it when you take off the mask. And that was my experience. I had worn these masks for so long that as I started getting more comfortable and confident in myself, I started to remove them. But who came out as a result was like this happy, joyful, like comedian, like just loves to have fun. And the people who knew me as this other person didn't know how to handle this new Laura. Right. And so oftentimes they were like, whoa, 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 who is this? Like, who are you? Like, and so not that they wouldn't love who I was, but that they were just like so caught off guard because they had only known me the other way.
Yeah.
As the quiet, as reserved, as the always people pleasing, always serving, always doing what everyone else wanted and needed, that when I actually allowed myself to just truly be myself, that they didn't know how to handle me. Have you ever had that happen to you, Connie?
Yeah, actually I have. Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you try to be yourself. And it was in my last relationship before I had like totally lost my identity. And I tried at some points just to let part of myself seep out just so that I could like try to maintain some identity. And every time it did, it was not good. It was, wow, it was not well received at all. Nope. Because they were so used to me being the yes person that whatever they
Right.
wanted was yes, whatever they, um, no matter what it was, I was like, yep, we'll do that. No, like, and then when I started standing up for myself and wanting things for myself, they were not happy. And it caused
Mhm.
a lot of contention in our relationship. And I think that was probably part of what started unraveling our relationship, was me trying to keep even just a small sliver of my identity.
Yeah. So I think when you come to the point where you're ready to just be truly authentically yourself, and this might be the wrong word, but I think there's like three potential consequences or three potential outcomes of what
Mm-hmm.
might happen as a result of that, right? And the first one is that those people might be upset or angry at you that you had lied to them.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, they may choose to just completely abandon you. They're like,
Yeah.
you know what? We don't know who you are. We won't want any part of this. And that relationship might end.
Mm-hmm. They'll
And
just
I've
walk
had
away.
some, yeah, they will. They'll walk away.
And like I said, that's pretty much what ended up happening with that relationship. Because as I started pursuing being myself or letting that poke through, it was such a thing that they were upset, right?
Hmm.
Because that wasn't who I had been prior to that point. And like I said, that's probably why they left, because they realized that the real me was trying to break through, right?
Yeah. Another outcome is that the others will still accept you, but it'll take time. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know for myself, when I started to just operate or start to like I said, that word, shed that chameleon skin, when I started to do that and be more authentically real in my social settings, I found that I had to do it gradually.
Mm-hmm.
I just when I did just came out full bore, completely 100% authentically me, it was too much. And so I felt like I had to kind of do it in stages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first are the people that truly I trusted, who truly loved me and who were my friends, and slowly show them my true self. And a lot of times with that, I also had to kind of walk them through what was happening. I had to even say to them, look, I've had a lot of wounding. I've been hiding behind a lot of masks. I've been not true to myself. And so, you know, these bits and pieces that I'm showing you, this is who I actually am. So please like embrace her. Please welcome her. Please don't, you know, be offended by her. And, you know, and my friends were gracious. They understood the process I was going through and they actually welcomed it. And, you know, I did it slowly, piece by piece, little by little. And as I did that with the people that I was truly comfortable with, people that I trusted, and was able to just completely be myself, then I was able to do that more in other settings with other people that weren't as close to me.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, in that is that, um, the people that still accepted me were people that, um, I had already kind of shown glimpses to. And then I was like, okay, so I've been doing this for a while and I really just want to be myself. And I explained to them who I really was. And it took time. And I think I did the same thing as you with the stages. Like I said, before I even talked to them, I kind of let a glimpse here, a glimpse there kind of thing. But there were also the people that were like really good friends. And so there was things about me that were fundamentally the same because it's my personality. And so they wanted to stay with me because of those things.
Right.
Um, and so I think for me, um, I did lose I did lose some friends, but I did keep some friends too. So
Yeah. And I think the third outcome that I've seen really, and there's probably more outcomes, but these are the three most realistic or readily that happen, I guess you could say, is they might be initially accepting of you, but then over time they just slowly walk away because they no longer like you no longer fit with them. right? Because, your thoughts, your ideas, the things, your goals, your motivations, they no longer align with that group of people. And so even though at first they're like, oh yeah, I'll accept you, I'm here thick and thin, whatever. It's just like over time, some of these relationships, they just kind of dwindle.
Yeah.
They just die off. They just, you lose touch with these people. And, this happens quite often.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't even have to be associated with mass. Sometimes it's associated with just seasons of life.
Mm-hmm.
You're going through a different season, but sometimes you'll have people that might be initially accepting of where you're at, what's going on in your life or whatnot. And then they just no longer are. They just are no longer there.
And they just drift away. Like, I think I think for me, I met quite a few of my friends through work. And then, as you're not working with them anymore and things like that, they just fade away because you're not in that same setting. You're not in that same place. You don't have that thing in common anymore. And if that was the only thing you had in common, then
Right.
when you don't have that in common anymore, they drift away. And that's okay. Because some people are only meant to be in your life for a time. And it's okay for people to come and go out of your life. Like I think sometimes we hold so tightly to people. And if they leave or they drift away, then we're devastated. But in reality, there are seasons in life when people should be there and times in life when they shouldn't be. And I'm glad for them when they are. Like, I'm always glad for my work friends, but when I was gone from that workplace, it didn't make sense for them to remain in my life when we had nothing else in common but work.
Right. That makes sense. I just find that in this situation, like sometimes it's hard when you've had those relationships for so long and they
Mm,
no longer are. Sometimes that is hard to walk through that process of change.
yeah.
Like I know even now, like I'm thinking of a few friendships that, you know, as I started pursuing more of my identity and pursuing more of my authenticity, they started, you know, separating themselves from me. And over time, I kept reaching out to them. I kept reaching out to them. And I've gotten to the point now where I've just realized, you know what? I've just got to let it go. Because even though I want that friendship to continue, for whatever reason, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
And that's hard.
sometimes it is hard. Sometimes it's hard to let go of those friendships that you really do want to continue because you
Mm-hmm.
see so much value in that person, even if they don't see it in themselves. And even though they're struggling and I just want to be in their life, if they're not in a place where they want to continue that friendship, I can't force that on them.
And sometimes they're super close to you and you're like, you have no idea why they left. And it's
Yeah.
devastating because you're like, they were so close. And then all of a sudden there's this missing piece. I hear you. That's happened to me. And it's hard to let go, but you still need to because for whatever reason, they're on a different path clearly at that point. And
Mm-hmm.
they they need you not to be in their life for whatever reason. And you may never know. I certainly don't know of a couple of people who have just drifted away and don't return texts, or I don't know if they even have me as a Facebook friend anymore, even though I still send messages every blue moon. But,
Yeah.
those people just obviously aren't meant to. And so I have to let them go off of my Facebook page, which I have now done. But it
Mm-hmm.
takes time to do that because you don't necessarily want to close the door either if there's a chance they'll come back. Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's that thing there. But a lot of the times they don't end up coming back unless
Yeah.
they want to, and they'll seek you out if they want to. um and the other thing that I wanted to comment on is sometimes when we do get to a point where someone has known us as who we really are from the beginning, and then we get really close, all of a sudden we're like, oh, what, I don't want to lose this person from my life, so how do I maintain keeping them in my life? And so you're tempted to go back. And so I did this with my husband. And he actually got mad at me. It was quite funny. So we were married, and it was the first time we had gotten into a real disagreement. And so I just started agreeing with him. And he was like, whoa, what just happened there? And I was like, I agree with you. He's like, no, 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 no. You did not agree with me 5 minutes ago. What just happened there? And I said, well, it's easier to agree with you. And he's like, since when? I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear why you think what you think, because it could shift me, but I need to hear it. He's like, don't just immediately say yes to me. I want to know. And I was like, oh. And he's like, you have a reason for saying what you're saying, and I want to know what it is. And it opened up this whole thing where I could then go deep into what I was thinking. And he did end up shifting. And I was like surprised because that had never happened in all of my previous relationships, because I had always been the yes person. So as soon as the argument happened, I immediately shifted myself to fit whatever they wanted, and everything was great. And I was like, oh, okay. And so it really hit me that it's okay to let that instinct go. And sometimes it's hard because you've been in that instinct for so long that you just keep going back to it. And it's hard to break it sometimes. But he helped me in a lot of ways break that for good. So that was encouraging to me.
That's awesome. I remembered a story. This was back when I was still kind of, living with my masks and living with this facade of who I wasn't and trying to please people. And as I let some people in to me, into my life, and to let them know who I was, one lady came up to me at church one day, and I was shocked at what she told me. And I don't think I've ever told you this, Connie. So this is going to be brand new for you. But she came up to me and she said, Laura, when I first met you, I was so intimidated by you. And I was shocked. I was like, how could you be intimidated by me? Little old me. Like, I'm the sweetest, kindest, most like not confrontational person you'll ever meet. But she was intimidated by me. And I didn't realize that because I was so driven and so driven to please people and to always do everything right and to be perfect in everything I did so that I didn't get anyone angry at me and all of those things, I didn't realize that I was putting out the airs or the facade that I had it all together, that I knew like that I was, and to her, she perceived it as I was like that I thought I was better than everyone else. But in my mind, I was thinking, oh, I'm this humble, sweet little person, but that wasn't what I was portraying on the outside.
Right.
And little did I know, like looking back, because I've always struggled with having friendships. I've had very few friendships in my life. And after she said that to me, I looked back and I was like, whoa, what if that drivenness in me impacted other people just like it impacted her? That she was too intimidated to befriend me.
Right.
Right? They felt like they couldn't live up to my standards. They couldn't. And I had no idea. Like I was completely oblivious that until she brought this up to me and I was like, whoa, like I can't believe that was your perspective. And she said, now that I've gotten to know you, you're none of those things. But that's what she first thought. Right. And I had no idea because those things weren't who I was, but because of who I thought I had to be, that's what I was portraying.
Right.
And that's huge. Like
And
we never
keep
know
going.
like what we never know what how we're operating, how that's being perceived by the other people. And that was an eye opener for me.
So she ended up rejecting you because she perceived something out of what you were doing that you weren't even trying to portray, but it was her perception.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it rejection. She just kind of didn't get close. But as
Right.
we like, because we were always in the same settings, because we were both parents of little kids, and we were always
Gotcha.
in the nursery together. So we were in the same places together. But she never really befriended me. But she slowly got to know me. But she came to me one day when we were friends, and she said, "Look, Laura, when I first met you, this is what I thought."
Right.
She says, now that I've gotten to know you, you're none of those things. But it was just so enlightening to know that was what people were seeing in me.
Right.
Like no wonder I had no wonder I had difficulties making friendships. I wouldn't want to be around someone who thinks they're like the bee's knees, got it all figured out, and that they have no problems in life. Come on. That would be
That's
hard.
true.
That would be hard. That would be hard to live up to. So, I mean, now when people like I should show people my true self, that comes with the difficulties and the successes. Like,
I
you
think,
know,
yeah, I think
just
the
being authentic.
biggest key for me to finally shed that skin for me was changing the way that I thought about myself, right?
Mm,
Because when I thought of myself as like unlovable or unappreciated or unvaluable, then when it came to those situations, I like that was one of the reasons I thought they wanted someone else other than me, because I devalued my own self, and that was my own thoughts about myself. And
right.
so I think one of the first things that I had to change was my inner monologue, right? Like, what do I actually believe about myself? What do I actually say to myself
Right.
inside of my head, right? So if I'm constantly thinking, oh, what I say isn't important, what I say isn't worthy, then obviously they're not going to give me the time of day. Or if I'm like, okay, in your case, like trying to be humble, but in coming across as intimidating,
Yeah.
right? Like you have it in your head that you're doing something, and so you're portraying something to offset that, right? To be
Mhm.
the opposite of what you think you are. And it's changing those thoughts that change, that help us shed that skin, right? So what I've been doing is I've been focusing on like the positive aspects of myself. So like me, I made a whole list of positive aspects about myself. And so when I have like a negative thought, then I'll pull out my list and focus on the ones that are the closest to what I'm struggling with. So one of the big ones that I struggle with is that I'm not good enough. And so when I get that thought flying through my head, I will pull out my list and go, no, I am good enough. And these are the reasons why. Like I have been, like, God has created me, God has given me everything that I need to do what He has called me to do. And I will go into all of that. And it works for all of them. And because all those negative thoughts aren't helping me, and they're not
Mhm.
helping anybody that I am connected with, because I'm me for a reason. And the people who are connected with me love me for me. They don't want me to be something else. And so I need to stay grounded in who I am. And so that's how I do it. It's been a huge process, but I would encourage you that if you don't have like a set of positive attributes about yourself, take the time to write them, because everyone in the world is valuable. Everyone in the world has something worth valuing inside of them. So
Mhm.
every single person has positive things about themselves that they should have on a list.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Connie, and you brought up the topic of unlovable. So
Yes.
I really want everyone to know about your book that
Ah,
you
yes,
wrote
my book.
called Unlovable. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I wrote a book called Unlovable with a question mark. And the question mark is there because throughout a lot of my life, I didn't realize that's how I felt. Um, I just, I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of anxiety, and I didn't realize that it all stemmed from feeling unlovable. And so I wrote this book because it was quite the journey for me to come out of. And along the way, I'll ask myself a lot of hard questions. And it took me a long time to figure out the answers to those questions. And so my book is basically taking 12 of the hardest questions that I had throughout those years, and um, sharing the answers that I figured out along my journey. And So that's what my book is all about. So if you've ever felt unlovable, or if you're struggling with that now, definitely get my book. It will help you in amazing ways. And yeah, I'm so excited. There's been a lot of great feedback from it, and everyone that's read it has enjoyed it. So
how can they purchase your book, Connie?
oh yeah, I should tell you that. You can find it at connieblackwood.com. And if you want to read the first chapter, it's there for free. And if you love the first chapter, then the book is there too. And if you would rather have it on ebook, it is there as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for having this conversation with me, Connie. I think that it's so important. And I think that, more people than not are struggling with this, and that this is something that needs to be talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that even in our webinar, like one of the ladies that joined us, she's like, I've never heard this before.
I know.
I had no idea this is even a thing. She just thought that she was the way she was because that was the way she was, right? And so you never know what revelation or what things that we've processed through might impact someone in a different way. So really, I thank you for joining me in this conversation. If you
Thank you
want to
for
hear
having
more,
me.
you're welcome. For those of you who have joined us, if you want to hear more, we've actually do a webinar at the first Thursday of every month, and for January was about the chameleon effect. So you're welcome to go check that out. It will be on YouTube and on our website at nosafoundation.com. And yeah, I look forward to you joining us next time on the NOSA Unleashed podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time on the NOSA Unleashed podcast.